Welcome back to Rizpod.live.
Hello.
We are back. It's been a while. Hi, John.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Good.
Glad to be back in the virtual studio with you.
Yeah, it's been way too long. Is my hair grayer yet?
I think so. Maybe a little bit. Mine too, but it's okay. We are here, obviously, recording a new podcast, but we're using a little bit of a different studio. So we'll do another episode, maybe 2 or 3 episodes later, about our experience with a new tool, because we've been so specific on using StreamYard before, but we're using a different one, which will be revealed later. So make sure you hit that subscribe button or visit rizpod.live for all our future and past episodes. So what are we talking about today?
The title is Booth Better, How Not to Blend In at Trade Shows.
Yeah. So the
Go ahead.
reason why this came up, I want to talk a little bit about this, is because I've been on the road from April to June, middle of June. I was in 7 or 8 different cities, going to events, working hard, and really experiencing events. And what better way to talk about my experience and how things are happening in the event space right now, and booths and what's working and what we might see as new trends. And I don't know, John, you haven't been to a trade show or an industry event in a while.
Not in a little while. Yeah. I'm pre-pandemic. I've been home since. Not because I'm afraid of COVID still, but because I have children. They don't allow me to leave. So
Yeah.
But so the outline here, the topics we wanted to discuss. So like design process for your booth, what we think works, what we think doesn't. Both of our dream booths. I'm excited for that part. And and then opinion piece at the end. Swag, good or bad?
Yeah. It depends on what swag it is.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, to jump into number one, so like the like design process. So as always, got to start out with that goal. I think it's like, what is that measurable result that we really want to achieve? And then what does conversion look like? So you want to like give a couple of examples of what different types of companies might try to do with a trade show booth?
Yeah. So I think everyone, from what I understand, a lot of the hosts, the people putting on the event, will upsell a contact list of all the attendees, which is, I guess, okay if they're trying to generate more revenue. But I think if you don't want to just generalized list and you want a more targeted list, you would have to find that measurable result that you want to achieve. So how many people stopped at your booth? Like if you went and picked up something, you don't necessarily know that person stopped, right? So you want them to stay there. So what is I think some examples for a measurable result is, I had a conversation, let me get your email. That's the most simple one.
Totally. Getting contact info for somebody, right? Maybe you can book meetings with people, get a little bit of a harder metric, right? I can't think of any others right now. I'm trying to think of like what Microsoft does when they're at events. It's just like they just have this big thing with a bunch of space and like, what are they doing? I guess it's just impressions. They're just like measuring impressions at that point, right?
Yeah. And sometimes depending on how many times you've been at the event, sometimes it is just about being seen or showing other people that you are at that event. And I think people, when they're new in business or they're switching careers or it's a new startup idea, tech idea, they don't go to those events because they think, well, I don't have my product yet, or I don't have a way to measure it, or I don't know what I'm measuring. And they just don't go to these events because they don't have that, right? But how many people do you meet at an event that could potentially be customers later or refer you to people? So those are things that I think, I had a conversation with a woman who's switching careers, and she was shying away from going to events because of the fact that she didn't have her website up yet, or like an email list or anything. And it was just kind of like, but do you talk to people? I think so, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. Thinking what a conversion looks like. The other thing, like to get closer here, the next thing is like the goal. So who is your target audience? Like, and then, so think about those people And like at that point in that event, when they're walking by your booth, like what are they feeling? What are they wanting? Like where are they in their day? What do those people need?
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, well, the traditional event space is very, here's your 6 foot table and you have a 10 by 10 space, and make sure you bring some banners or whatever behind you. And let's hope someone stops by. It's not like that anymore.
Yeah.
No one's
fair.
going to just, especially if there's, depending on the size of events, like there's going to be, I don't know, hundreds of booths, so to say. And how do you stand out from that? Who do you want to attract to your
Fair.
booth?
Yeah. And then so once you've got like that, once you got that person in mind and kind of what state they're in, then it's the general process, like how to catch their attention, how to make them stay long enough so they can actually convert. And then how to make that whole, I think a bonus kind of thing is like how to make that whole process like remarkable so that people will tell other people about the great experience they had at your booth. So now you're not just relying on people walking by.
Right. Yeah. And one example that I've been a part of and luckily got into is working with an event marketing agency, and we bring people in by giving them something first. We don't ask for their email. We're not giving them swag. We're giving them valuable tools for their career or their business or their branding or whatever. So we're partnering with whoever, what it could be like a vendor, it could be a tech partner. And we give them something before we ask for their email, so it's, and that's just because that's the audience that's there. There's professionals. We're going to give them tools. And that's not something tangible. That's not a Rubik's Cube or a koozie. It's...
Everybody needs another koozie. Those metal ones, they're the best.
Yeah. Oh, what? Pardon. My phone fell on the ground.
Yeah, I was thinking for something you mentioned before, like giving out coffee, just having like, if you had bright branded cups, that could be enough to make it remarkable so people stop by more frequently, right?
Yeah. And I would think also from a sustainability standpoint, I think a lot of people are like so easy to like pick up the cheapest thing that, the most amount of swag for the cheapest amount of cost, right?
Pens.
But if, I mean, pens are always going to sell, but it's like not, let's think differently. Like I've gotten like a collapsible water bottle. So this is good for like people who travel. Like that'd be cool to get like a big like hydro flask. Like those are really good, or like a Stanley cup. But I can't always take those back in my luggage, so I may not grab it. So what can we bring in our luggage that's not like just a koozie or
yeah, totally.
Candy wrapper.
And so what are things you've been to more shows than me. What do you think lately? What do you think are things that work, like things that catch your attention and get you to actually stop?
Yeah, so I would say first, like reimagine your setup in terms of furniture, or how, if it's available to you, if you can decide what you put. Do not have the six foot table in front of you. Maybe just have an open space so that it forces you, it forces you out on the floor to welcome people in. I think putting that thing, it's like an invisible barrier. Like, do not come here unless you want to talk to me about my business, right? It's not about you. It's about me.
Yeah.
I saw one at a show back in March or April, and it was really basic. It was just too small, like almost like a tea table that you would have like out on your patio or your front porch, 2 chairs with like a small circle table. And that, like, to me is inviting. Oh my gosh, I'm going to go have a conversation with them. And it was a little bit out of the box. I mean, it was geared towards an urban planning audience. So I think that was a good way to tie it in, because you're, talking about spatial design, right? But it was really different than other people who had 6-foot tables with a bowl of candy on them. So,
And a business card bowl.
yeah, right.
But for me, my favorite things have always been, well, I go to events that are definitely outdoor with kids now, and like prize wheels. I like prize wheels.
Yeah. Yes.
Kids like prize wheels. They've
Does
got
it matter
that
what's
click.
on the prize wheel, though?
No, I just want to spin it anyways. They could be
Okay.
punishments. I'd still spin it. But they have that audible click as well, like, and it's big and it's visible and it moves, and that can obviously catch some attention. Or just like things that get people to stop and just have fun and let loose a little bit, just like
Right.
mini golf, beanbag toss, like giant Jenga, that kind of thing. Just things that are fun and get people to stay. Because if you can just get people to stay, then you've got the opportunity to actually have that conversation, right?
Right. Right. And I think the naysayers will say, well, that doesn't relate to my brand. But like you said, as long as they're staying there and you're
Then
able
you've
to
got
have
the
a
chance.
conversation, you have a chance, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Versus someone standing there saying, come over.
Yeah.
Hey, come over. You're like, no. It's so awkward.
Or even just sitting there, right? Next thing, like, and so like, what doesn't work? I think the absolute worst is
Yeah.
like people sitting behind a table with papers on their table and a candy bowl and maybe a business card draw. Like,
Yes.
what person in their right mind wants to put their card in that thing so that they can spam you later? Like,
Yeah.
it's like, please cold call me later.
Right, because you don't know what they're going to talk about. You didn't talk to the person behind. It is a cold call, even though
Basically,
you gave
yeah.
them your info. And I want to point out, you said, who the F would want to do it?
That's the script, yeah.
It's important. And it's true. And I think that, a lot of people may not say that publicly because they don't want to be seen as like negative towards people that are putting this out, but it's it's what we're hearing in the industry, and what you can't just do things the way they're done. So we're trying to give you some good actual actionable things to work on.
Fair. Should we move on to our dream booths?
Yes.
You want to go first?
I think you should go first.
All right. But for me, it'd be like if I was at an event and it had been like a long thing, the thing I would want to see the most, like an Irish or English pub setting. So with like maybe a tiny little pool table, maybe plastic darts, not pointy ones, and then a bunch of bar stools, and have a lot of seating so that a lot of people can sit and just relax for a minute.
Right.
Maybe a
Right.
TV in the background playing some sports. And then the thing about this is if you get people to sit, and if their food, say they can order like a small free snack or something, if that takes like 5 minutes, that's enough time for your team to like actually start a conversation with them in between. Totally natural environment. And yeah, you might have to kick people out. That you might stay too long, right?
Right. You got to put on some music and do musical chairs. No, I think that, and I think a lot of these events, they'll have the like intro night where like all the booths are open and like they're giving like snacks and appetizers over there, and there's all these activations, and you have to stand out, and like outside of just doing the regular thing, like you can follow along with that theme of like maybe everyone's wearing some kilts, or like figure out how you can stand out from, and this is the most basic thing, but like a coordinated outfit. I was at a recent floral show, and there was a tech tool that like basically generates it's AI generated plant care basically. So it's like going to tell you how to take care of your plant using AI, but I don't know. I didn't use it yet, but they were wearing all the same color, and they had like a booth that had like plants, and like it was really cool because it was like, oh, like these people are coordinated. I'm going to draw my eye towards them versus wearing, everyone wearing different things. And it's something that was like, oh, this is an experience. And it was, they probably paid top dollar for their booth because it was larger than other people's, but it was something interactive to start the conversation and then go into their product.
Fair.
I like my dream booth. We'll talk about my dream booth because I think, I said at the top of the episode that I was traveling a lot, and like towards the end of my 2-month stint of doing all of this, I was realizing how much energy I was losing throughout the day. So you're on throughout the day, and then you get to the end of day 3 and you're like drained, right? You're talking to people all the time, going to dinner, doing all that stuff. But I would love like a energy / like B12 shot oxygen booth. I think in general, depending on your audience, I mean, as long as it's okay with the event host and the jurisdiction where you're at, I would do that. Think about what your audience needs on day 3 of your, or like in the middle of trade show season, because most of the time these people are not just going to one show per year.
Yeah.
They're going to many different things. So what can make people stay, like we said, make people stay and end up talking about your thing or your product or your service that you offer.
Nice. Yeah, maybe some recovery drinks.
Yeah. I mean,
Maybe.
I think, trying to think if there was something. Yeah, the other example that I saw was there was a financial planning service tool that their setup was like a campsite. So that a whole like tent, and like it was green, and I don't necessarily think that their company's branding was green, but their event was green. So it gives off an emotion of like, you're relaxing in nature. It's not using the same concepts of all the events where it's like bright and red and marketing and pink and purple, So it was pretty cool. I liked it.
Fair.
I like that
one. No, that's great. Anything that kind of breaks from the norm and just is a good place to stay has gotta help, right?
Yeah.
And then what about, so like classic is swag.
Yeah.
Like having all these things that people want to get, and then a lot of the time making people do something to get the thing. So like that's where you submit a fake email and fake phone number.
Jon.
But like I don't know, like I definitely love swag. At the same time, it's what clogs my junk drawer at home, and it feels kind of ridiculous when you get home with it. So what are your thoughts on swag? Like, should it happen? Should it not happen?
Yes, I think it should happen, and invest in what one aligns with your brand in some way. It may not make direct sense by like, if you look at it, okay, that aligns, but if it represents your culture, it represents something that your team is known for, your CEO, something related to your story, think about that. There's a lot of people that will just default to like what's known is like koozies and pens, and that's great. A lot of people don't always need that, but I don't think it stands out. Like, it's like you said, it's going to sit in a drawer, or I'm going to get home and realize, oh, I have too many koozies. I don't even drink beer, so like, I mean, I drink beer, but not
mixed drinks in cans.
Yeah, you could, but like, have you ever done that? Have you ever put like a LaCroix in a koozie?
No, I don't think so.
See?
Speaking on the koozies, if anybody's listening to this and wants to be in my good books, what I want is, it's called a Little Sucker koozie, Lil Lil Sucker koozie. It's like a suction cup. When you put a beer in it, it has like some neoprene on the bottom that also turns into a suction cup, so it can like literally sit on a 45-degree angle, and your beer will stay mounted. It's like a good boating koozie.
Yeah. See, okay, now I'm thinking about these new. It's like for me, like something for the lake. Like, it would be great to have like a little blow up like floaty for my beer or drink, like on the lake, right? So like, that's a small thing that you can just get branded, and like, if you're from a lake town, I've used those in the pool, like at the community pool when I used to live, and they're so like, no one had them. You just put your drink in there. It floats around the pool. I'm like, one, it's great for like the person using it, but the person giving it away, that's branding for you, because someone's going to post about it and be like, where'd you get that? I got it from some let's say Microsoft, right? And now it's like being branded throughout the internet.
Yeah. Okay. Now I like swag. It's just gotta be good stuff. I was gotta be picky.
You hear that? We want swag.
Yeah. I gotta not take the pens. That's the worst part.
I always love stickers though. So
stickers. Okay.
So there was a booth that had a gratitude wall. So it was basically an HR conference, and they give gift cards, or they partner with restaurants to give gift cards to their employees, right? So it's like this whole thing. But their activation was a gratitude wall. So it was gratitude, and then the product or service was like grateful or something like that. But in addition to that, they had like a whole wall of stickers that were like gratitude related stickers. So I went to the gratitude wall. I had something written. Someone else wrote something about me. And then I stayed a long time and got like a handful of stickers because they had multiple things that I could do in their booth. And they weren't like company logo, buy my stuff. It was, like this one's funny. Like I have one right here. It says sports critic. It's backwards. But that's like, oh, that's related to a sports related website. Or I have a bunch of stickers on my desk. Let's talk AI.
Nice.
So it's like, it doesn't necessarily mean, oh, I have to put, this is lollygagging. I don't have to put my logo in here. I'm spending a bunch on my logo stickers that no one's ever going to use. But think about what slogans or what feelings you want to put associated with your booth or brand. That would be great.
Nice. There you go.
That's swag.
Awesome. Well, I think that wraps for this episode. What number are we at? Number 27? Are we near 30 yet? I have no idea. We'll start counting.
I don't know. We're at episode, listen to all of them. Thank you for listening.
And they're all at rizpod.live, episodes, show notes, etc.
Yes.
One thing we need to do as well, we need more guests. I just want to put out a call for guests. If you're if you're like an event tech company, or just if you're in events and have like an opinion on something like swag that you want to share with more event organizers, planners, producers, we'd love to interview you on the show and learn more about what you're doing.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. Listen to what Jon said and make sure you come back for more episodes. Talk to you later.
Till next time. Bye.
Thanks for watching Resilient Events, where co-hosts Marisa and Jon provide overwhelmed entrepreneurs with a comprehensive strategy for using podcasts, live streams, and events to establish expertise in any industry. With real-life examples and events expertise, they'll help you finish planning and start doing. Visit rizpod.live for show extras and freebies.